I'm drinking water.
Good morning and welcome to hashtag Rise and Grind. I am your host, Glenn Lundy. I am a husband to one, a father to seven, and the creator of what is going to be the #1 most watched morning show in the world. It is 5:30 a.m. and I hope that you are ready to rise and grind.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up, everybody? Dude, today is Wednesday. That's right. Today is Wednesday. February. For a minute there, I couldn't remember what month it was. That is how crazy life has been lately. So today is Wednesday, February 6th, 2019. That's right, Wednesday, February 6th, 2019. And what's crazy is today is the very first, and the very last time that it'll ever be. First and last time that it'll ever be. Wednesday, February 6th, 2019. So I want to make sure we make the absolute most of this incredible day. And I got to tell you, man, I have so much to share with you today. I have so much to tell you today. It's ridiculous. We're going to dive right in. It's supposed to be about 60 degrees here in Kentucky today. A little warmer. It's going to be like 70 tomorrow. However, I am going to miss that 70-degree day tomorrow because I am going to New York here shortly. I'm going to be leaving to New York here a little bit later this afternoon. In New York, it's going to be like 44 today and like 40 tomorrow. But that's okay. Even though it's going to be cold outside in New York, it's going to be absolute fire what we've got going on up there. I'm going to be meeting up with Lisa Copeland. I'm also going to be meeting up with Eric Thomas. My man Eric Thomas is going to be up there. I'm going to be sharing a stage with Tim Grover, my man Sean Wolfington, who I introduced you guys to when I went down to Miami, when I went down to the game. He's going to be there. There's going to be some people from 2 Market Media, which is an incredible company. Team Velocity is going to be there. There's also going to be some executives from Facebook and Google, all going to be at this incredible award ceremony celebrating a decade of accomplishments from Paragon Honda and Paragon Acura. It is going to be insane, and it is going to be fire, and I am honored, absolutely honored to be a part of it. And not only do I get the honor of being able to speak, and not only do I get to speak at this particular event, but Brian Benstock has asked me to MC the event. So I'm going to get to speak a little bit, and then I'm also going to be introducing the guests and keeping the crowd energized and doing all of that stuff. It's going to be held at this place called the Classic Car Club, which the Classic Car Club, from what I understand, is it's this elite group up there in New York. People pay a very, very, very heavy membership fee, much higher than most people's mortgages, and they pay to be a part of this Classic Car Club. And they have these cars like these old Ferraris and Lamborghinis and all of these really fancy cars, you know, from over the decades in the auto industry. And what's pretty cool is if you're a member of the Classic Car Club there in New York, then you can go and grab any of these old cars. You can go grab a 1950 Ferrari or whatever, and you can drive these cars for the weekend as a member of the club. But it's going to be, the setting is going to be at the Classic Car Club with all of these vintage, amazing vehicles around. The Hudson River is going to be right there. It sits right on the Hudson River there in New York, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful and epic. So that's what I'm doing. I'm getting ready to head out there to New York to be a part of this, and it's going to be just so stinking cool. I can't wait. But the reason I kind of want to share that with you guys is A, to let you know that I'm excited about where I'm going, but also we need to talk a little bit about the success that Paragon Honda and Paragon Acura has had, and we need to extract from that what we can. What can we learn from their success, and how can we apply that into our lives? So I'm super excited. It's just gonna be really, really, really cool. What a tremendous accomplishment what that place has done. Paragon Honda, number 2 in the United States with Honda, and number 1 in the world in Acura. And I've been out to their facility. It's really interesting. I'll dive into that. Also today, some really cool stuff. This guy right here, Mr. Rob Hip. I'm gonna pull this up so you guys can see it. So Rob Hip is a radio. He is part of a radio station out in Texas, and he won a T-shirt the other day because you guys all liked his post, and so he has asked me today to join him. I'm going to join him on air on the radio out there in Georgetown, Texas, I believe. I'm not going to Georgetown, Texas, but I'm going to be on air with him today. It looks like 8 a.m. Central, which is 10 a.m. our time, or 10 a.m. Eastern. So I know a lot of you guys are Eastern that are watching right now. That's why I say that. But I don't want to leave out my people that watch at later times. So at 10 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central, I'm going to be joining Rob Hip on Radio Georgetown 106.7 KGTN. He also live streams it from his page. So if you want to go to Rob Hip, if you want to go to Rob Hip's page, you can follow and tune in. I'd love to really encourage him by having as many people on the live, since he's doing something for us, helping to spread hashtag Rise and Grind across the nation. I would love for you guys to tune in and help spread the live feed across Facebook. It's just the right thing to do. That's all. It's just the right thing to do. I also want to this morning take a second and say thank you, because as I'm doing a lot of traveling, you guys know I'm sticking to this water thing. I'm sticking to only drinking water for a full year. And I got to say thank you to Miss Natalie Phillips. She sent me a soda stream. She sent me a little soda stream thing, and when I opened the box, I was like, who's sending me something to make soda not cool? And then I realized what it was. It actually turns water into bubbly water, which makes water just a little bit more palpable when it's bubbly versus not bubbly. So I want to say thank you to Natalie Phillips. Super kind of you to send that out. I truly, truly appreciate it. I believe and her husband there's James, Natalie and James, and just super kind of you guys to think of me and help keep me on course as I'm trying to stick to drinking water for a full year. So we've got all kinds of stuff. I'm going to dive into that a little bit more, not the water, but some of this other stuff a little bit more today. But before I do, why don't we dance this morning? You guys want to dance to this one? Oh, I got the volume at on this one.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Uh-oh, that's too loud.
Hashtag rise and grind. Hashtag rise
You'll be able to hear me.
First thing on my mind, early in the morning time.
Okay, we got to reset that. Sorry about that. It's a little too loud. All right, how about now? There we go. That's better. Hey, for those of you that know, and those of you that don't know, this is the part of the show where I need you to hit that share button. That's right. It's the part of the show where I need you to hit that share button. Because I believe if we could change the way people start their day, we can make a massive impact on this planet. And sometimes all it takes is for you to hit that share button to completely change the way somebody starts their day. It's also the part of the show where I want you to say good morning to me, and I'm going to say good morning to you. Whether you're watching live or watching on replay, I go back. If you're watching on replay, I go back. I'll say good morning to you. So whether you're watching live or on replay, go ahead and say what's up. Good morning, Leanne Ryan-Smith. How are you? Good morning, Janet Wigington and Scott Holbert. Good morning, Gail B. Craft. Great to see you. Carissa Jones is up in here. Anthony Santangelo. Speaking of Joneses, my man Aaron Jones is up in here. Check this out. Aaron ran me a Cat 5 cable. He ran me a Cat 5 cable so that we can go live on YouTube and Facebook at the exact same time. The only problem is my computer that I use doesn't have a plug-in for a Cat 5 cable. That's how I learn, though. That's how I learn. That's how I grow. It is what it is. I also want to say good morning to Tom DeLolio and Faye Giles. What's up, Janelle Griego? Trendy Trend is up in here. Jesse Miller and Jeff Baker. Jeremy Nolan, good morning, sir. Richard Pintrick, how are ya? Richard Pintrick says, good morning. I love it. Don Sankey's up in here. Mr. Brian Benstock, I was just talking about you, sir. Rested up indeed. Cannot wait for tomorrow night. Good morning, Marcus Stone and Ray Hatcher. Everybody's up in here. Pam Biddle, AJ Schultz. I'm stinking loving it. This is awesome. All right, let's rock and roll, man. Let's rock and roll. You know, Brian, I'm actually glad you're in here, man. We're talking about you and Paragon Honda. Not necessarily you, but we're talking about Paragon Honda and you guys' success and some things that we can take away from that. Some things that we can learn from what you guys have done, which is incredible. So before I dive into that a little bit too far, I do want to let you guys know, you know, Paragon Honda, obviously they're incredibly innovative, and I'm trying to stay innovative as well with hashtag Rise and Grind. I'm trying to stay ahead of the curve. I'm trying to provide you guys with the different tools that you guys need to be able to be successful, to continue to thrive and continue to grow. Hashtag Rise and Grind, because I truly believe in this show. And so I do want to let you know that I have an announcement to make, and the announcement is hashtag Rise and Grind officially has its first payrolled employee. That's right, its first payrolled employee. Her name is Kira, and she is my beautiful 19-year-old daughter, and she'll be here. She'll be 20 in May, and she is helping me. Her and her roommate. She has a roommate named Emily. And so Kira and Emily are both going to be helping me on the backside with new innovative technologies like this app that we've got coming out on February 14th. We've got an app coming out February 14th, and those young ladies are going to be helping out with me with that. Also, they're helping out as far as I'm getting like covered up with messages and so on and so forth as the group continues to grow and the show continues to get more popular. We get more messages, and so they're helping me out, making sure that I stay in line, making sure that my appointments are in line, getting back to messages, so on and so forth. So I just wanted to introduce you guys to her. You're going to be seeing more of her. And Emily's been helping out already with Instagram, getting videos out to Instagram and LinkedIn, doing all the things that we have to do in order to just spread this out there as far as we can. We have to stay young and we have to innovate, right? We must stay young and innovate. And see, that is exactly how Paragon Honda rose to the top. I mean, you don't get to this point. You don't get to this point where you get to have an award ceremony celebrating a decade of accomplishments. They got the President's Award. They, number 2 Honda. They go back and forth between number 2 and number 1 Honda in the United States, number 1 Acura in the world. You don't get to this point without being innovative. You just can't get there. You have to be innovative. You have to stay young. You have to stay relevant. And that's what I love about Paragon is I talk to Benstock kind of about their story and how they made moves, a decade ago to get to the position that they're in now. And really they took some risks and they took some chances and they decided that they had to fill a void. They had to fill a void and solve a problem. And when I talked to Benstock about it, it was just really interesting because sometimes we look at our problems and we go, woe is me. Other times we look at our problems and we see them as opportunities. So I'm going to list out 5 things. I believe it's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to list out 6 things that Paragon Honda did in order to rise to the top that we can do in our lives and our businesses, that we can apply, some philosophies that we can apply if we want to continue to grow till we can get to the point where we can have a big award ceremony on the Hudson River at the Classic Car Club, invite the number 1 motivational speaker in the world to come join us, not Glenn right now, but Eric Thomas right now, but 10 years from now, maybe you could invite me to your award ceremony where you're celebrating a decade of just absolute growth and a decade of triumph and a decade of winning. Who would like to have a decade of winning, A decade of winning, that's game-changing when you can have a full 10 years of winning. So I'm going to touch on a couple things. One of the things that Paragon Honda did in order to rise to the top, to the position that they're in now, is they expanded when others contracted. They expanded when others contracted. See, we see this. It happens all the time. The economy shifts. People are talking about it right now, right? Everybody's talking about how we're going into a cycle, how the economy is going to shift. Things are going to get hard. What seems hard now is actually easy. Things are actually going to get hard here soon. And so everybody's talking about that. And what ends up happening is a lot of people, their mentality, their mindset is to contract. To bring in, let's trim some fat, let's look at our budget, let's look at our expenses, let's pull back on inventory, let's prepare for the storm, let's huddle up, let's go into shelter, and let's prepare to allow this storm to come over us, and let's stay safe. And that's a natural response. A lot of people go into that response. I'm here to tell you, if you want to have a decade of success and winning, if you want to rise to the top in your businesses and in your relationship, if you want to win, you must expand when others contract. You see, some of the greatest companies in the history of all time, some of the greatest businessmen in the history of all time, that's what they did. They saw economic downfalls on the way. And what do? They went out and they bought up real estate. They bought up land. They bought up other people's contracts. As other people were contracting, they were expanding. And of course, it's risky. And of course, it's expensive. And of course, you're looking at a period of maybe not having the net income, and you've got a lot of outgo. I understand that. I understand the fear, but I'm here to tell you, you want to have a decade of winning, you must expand while others contract. You have to take advantage of the opportunity. That's what happens in economies. They're cyclical. They cycle. And if you can not only make it through the storm while continuing to expand, not only make it through, but when you come out of the other side, you're going to thrive. Not just survive, but thrive. And I don't know about you, but I'm all about thriving, not just surviving. Second thing that Paragon Honda did and continues to do is they looked at their situation and decided to create some innovative strategies on how they could win. You see, out there where they're at in New York, it's kind of landlocked and it's very busy and tight. Every single inch of space is taken up there in the concrete jungle. When I went out there to visit, I was just amazed and floored at how things are so packed and so tight. And what Brian Benstock and his team realized and recognized is that the time that it took for people to bring their vehicles to the dealership, to come into the dealership, that time was valuable. It was valuable to the people, and that there was ways that they could maybe get away that or get around that. If they could find a way to get more innovative, they could find a different strategy where they could actually take the people out of it. Really, they take the customer's time out of it. Instead, they use their time effectively to go to the customer's homes, pick up their vehicles when they want to service them. They service their customer vehicles overnight while the customers are sleeping. Think about that. You go to bed, you know you need an oil change, you know you might need brake pads, or you know you've got to get your vehicle serviced. So you punch it into your phone. Brian himself shows up at your doorstep. He picks up your car at 7 o'clock p.m. or whatever time it is. He picks up your car. He brings it back. You go to bed. When you wake up in the morning, it's back in your driveway. What a creative and innovative idea. And Paragon Honda put that together, and that's what they do for their customers now. And their service numbers are going through the roof, and they're expanding. Their reach is expanding. They're getting more and more customers. It started with just the local customers that were right there close to their dealership, and now it's expanding. It's like you ever see one of those movies or video games where a virus just starts to like spread and spread and spread and spread all across the country? That's what's going on in New York. Is Paragon's just spreading and spreading and spreading because they're serving the customers where the customers are at. They're not forcing the customers to come to them. They're not looking at the old ways of doing things and saying, okay, well, I'm going to stay right here because it worked for me for the last however many years. No, they're going, how can I better serve my customer? How can we be innovative? How can we utilize technology? The customer can see on their phone exactly where their car is. They can pay their bill right there on their phone. It's very similar to Uber technology. where you can track everything and you can communicate right there through the app. They created that. That technology didn't exist. It wasn't around. But instead of just looking and saying, well, no, that technology doesn't exist, we can't do that. Instead, they said, who do we have to partner with? Who do we have to join hands with? Who do we need to lock arms with so that we can make this technology that is necessary? How do we create it? So your number 2 tip today that we can learn from Paragon is we must create and innovate. We must have a creative and innovative strategy at all times. I want you to look at your problems in your businesses. I want you to look at your problems in your relationships. I want you to look at the problems in your life. And I want you to figure out, how can I create? How can I be innovative? What can we do to make this situation better? How can we better serve? You guys know I talk about serving all the time. How can I better serve? The third thing that they did at Paragon Honda that got them to this point where they're going to have this awesome celebration with the presidential award, and number one in the world. Number one in the world. The third thing that they did is they set an expectation and a standard of winning. When you walk into that dealership, when you walk into that business, if you talk to Ariel, Brian Benstock, or anybody else that works in that place, the minute you walk in, you understand that you are dealing with professionals that win. Plain and simple. It's written all over the walls. It shows in their suits, the way that they are dressed, the way that they look. It shows in their expertise, their knowledge of their product, what they know. It's very, very, very clear that they have a standard expectation of winning. And guess what? They're winning. The bar has been set, and it comes from the top down. Their leaders are dedicated. Their leaders are committed to winning. Their leaders are lifetime learners. Their leaders are constantly thinking of innovative and creative strategies and ways to win. Their leaders are constantly playing the game of chess, and it trickles all the way down, and you can see it no matter from the guy that just started working there yesterday or the guy that's been there for years. You shake his hand. He's an expert. He knows what the heck he's talking about. You can tell just by looking at him, he knows what he's talking about. They have a winning culture, a winning mindset, a winning attitude. Losing is not an option. It's not an option. Being average is not an option. Being the 5th best or the 10th best or the 15th best is simply not an option. They have set the standard for excellence. Now, sometimes that can be hard. I had to do this. I've been through this. I understand this. Sometimes it's hard because sometimes some people in your organizations, some people around you won't perform. They don't want to perform at a level of excellence. They're okay with being average. And I love them. And I can give them big hugs. And we can hang out and drink water at the bar whenever they want. But they can't work for me. That's how it is out there at Honda, man, at Paragon. That's how it is with those guys. So I want you to do that in your businesses. I want you to do that in all of your relationships. I want you to set an expectation and a standard of excellence and winning. Just set the expectation. We win. That's what we do. We win. If you're not a winner, if you don't have winning characters, winning traits, if you're not doing winning actions every single day, then I'm sorry, you can't play on my team. You remember when you were a kid and you got to pick which guy got to play on the team? Like, we'd be playing hoops and you'd be like, okay, I want that guy because he's a winner. I want that guy because he's a winner. I want that guy because he's a winner. And we used to pick our teams so that we could run the court for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and nobody could take us off the court. That's how it works in business. I want you to start selecting winners to be on your team. I want you to start selecting winners, understanding the expectation and the standard is that you win, and I want you to apply it from the top down across your organization. That's how Paragon Honda got to where they are today. Are you with me? Are you with me? And you guys all know what it takes to create a winning mentality. You all know what it takes to win. It's hard work, man. It's hard work. It's grind your teeth, grit, hard freaking work. It's not easy. It's not easy. Fifth thing that Paragon Honda, did I say, or fourth thing, and I got to get through these, I'm running out of time. Fourth thing Paragon Honda does that I need you guys to do as well. Fourth thing is they invest in their people. They invest in their people. Plain and simple. You think that this event actually I'm going to put 4 and 5 together. They invest in their people and they celebrate their wins. Do you think this event that we've got going on, do you think that getting Eric Thomas out there is cheap? Do you think that renting the Classic Car Club to have an event is cheap? I mean, all of this stuff costs money. It costs money, and there's no direct on-paper ROI for this investment. It's an investment in his people. Brian is investing in his people. Brian and his partners at Paragon Honda, they're choosing to invest in their people and celebrate their win. Now, they could have brought in a piece of cake or maybe had a catered lunch and said, hey, thanks, guys, for being number one in the world and getting the presidential award. They could have said that, or they could go all out. They could go all out. And from what I believe, the reason they've chosen to go all out is because they set this standard for excellence. And so if we're going to celebrate, we're going to celebrate on an excellent level. I just witnessed that with Liza Myers. Liza Myers Borges. I just witnessed that with her. She's celebrating her top people in her company by renting out this beautiful hotel for them, the Homestead, and a beautiful banquet hall, and having a wonderful dinner, and handing them checks and plaques and taking pictures and celebrating their victories. I need you to invest in your people and celebrate your wins. That's how you step into a decade. That's how you step into a decade of winning. That's how you become number one in the world. You guys hear me on that? Number one in the world. Like that whole big globe thing with 7 billion people on it or whatever. Number one in the world, man. That's so powerful. The last thing I'm going to share with you guys today. And then we're going to get out of here. Actually, we already touched on that. We already touched on that earlier. They fill the void. They clearly filled the voids and solved the problems. We already talked about that in creating an innovative strategy. So let me recap these 5 things. Expand when others contract. Create an innovative strategy and fill the void, okay? Solve the problems. Set an expectation and a standard. Set an expectation and a standard. Across the board. Standard of living, standard in your relationships, standard in your businesses. Invest in your people and celebrate your wins. You do those 5 things, and I promise you can step into a decade. Well, and hard work. work. You always got to throw in the hard work. But I promise you do those 5 things and you work your stinking tail off, and you'll have 10 years. You'll have a decade of wins. You will. You will. I'm just here to tell you it'll absolutely happen. So in 2019, I promise you I'm going to stay fresh with hashtag Rise and Grind. We're going to come out with apps. I'm going to hire the people that we need to hire. We're going to do the things. We're going to continue to create and innovate and stay edgy and stay on top. Those things are going to continue to happen. We're going to travel around. I've got to get out to Kia. I got to get out and see Michael Jasper. I got to get out and see Bambi, Jeff Baker, Jeremy Nolan. I'm going to give you guys a more in-depth inside look at some of the members that are here on the show. We're going to continue to have more and more incredible guests that are going to come on the show and join us. We're just going to continue to blow this thing up. I'm going to figure out how to get a Cat 5 cable. Oh, that's a big spider. Woo! Scary. I'm going to figure out how to get a Cat 5 cable into a computer that doesn't have a Cat 5 port so that we can run this show on YouTube Live at the same time that we're here on Facebook. But lastly, I just want to tell you guys, listen, you are a child of God. I want you to understand that. Uniquely made by the God of the universe to be the absolute best version of you that you can possibly be. And you're already starting to make some good decisions. You're in the hashtag Rise and Grind group. You're commenting, you're posting, you're doing all those things. You're waking up early. You're grinding it out. You're doing a lot of really good things. And I want you to know that those things are making a massive impact on your friends, on your family members, on your coworkers. They're making a massive impact on me. And I, for one, absolutely love you for it. I do. I stinking love you. Ben Stock, if you're still in there, if you're still watching, I'm going to see you in a little bit, man. Can't wait to spend a couple days with you and the champions that surround you. Thank you so much. I am honored to be a part of it. You guys, I'm going to make sure to film and shoot. Follow me on Instagram. You'll see I'll be storying like crazy through the entire event. It's going to be stinking awesome. So have an incredible day. If you need more videos, go to GlennLundy.com. If you want this awesome freaking shirt right here, go to GlennLundy.com. And most importantly, come back tomorrow morning. I'll be live from New York City on hashtag Rise and Grind. Have an incredible day.
Wake up, wake up, wake up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. Hashtag rise and grind, hashtag rise and grind. First thing on my mind, early in the morning time. Daily motivation, feeling so divine. Waking up the nation, hashtag rise and grind. Hashtag rise and grind, grind, 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 grind. Hashtag rise and grind. First thing on my mind, early in the morning time. Daily motivation, feeling so divine. Waking up the nation, hashtag rise and grind. Hashtag rise and grind. Don't stop, stop, get it, get it. Hashtag rise and grind. Don't stop, stop, get it, get it. Waking up the nation, hashtag rise and grind. Waking up the nation, hashtag rise and grind. Good morning. On my feet before the sunrise. Stepped into my greatness, feeling powerful.